Welcome to episode 110 of Rubbish Talk with me, Alasdair.
And me, Tina Jackson.
Welcome, Tina. Lovely to have you on.
No problem. Thank you for inviting me. Looking forward to it.
So, Tina, can you tell us a little bit about who you currently work for and a bit of background about that organisation?
Yeah, so I currently wear a number of hats. So I think we've got me down as the founder of Comply Digital, but I also run a consultancy business, Jackson Consultants, and I run the TCM forum, which you'll see linked between both businesses. My background is...
Rule of this podcast, Tina, is you're not allowed to use acronyms without spelling them out.
You needed to have told me that. So I need to change my whole forum name now. So it's the Technically Competent Managers Forum. There we
Perfect.
go. Yeah.
Thank you.
So apologies. Yeah.
That's all right.
An acronym. I ought to think about that going forward, actually. But yeah. So we also run a forum for
There was a one, and I saw one on LinkedIn a week or so ago, and they were looking for a survey. They were doing a survey of things, and they basically put up this. I can't remember what the acronym was, and I actually genuinely didn't know what the acronym was. I maybe should have known what the acronym was, but I genuinely didn't know what the acronym was. I was like, why do you put a survey out and only have the acronym? It's obviously going to limit the number of people who are going to reply. So I think I'm always conscious, and apologies, I probably should have pre-warned you that one, but never mind.
Fine. Don't worry. That's absolutely fine. So my background was initially in construction materials and more of a sales role, but that was sort of 25 years ago, and fell into a little bit of the infill of waste management by applying for a commercial role for a landfill and recycling business. So still within commercial, and that was my first ever sort of insight into anything other than selling a recycled product. The role was to procure waste, whether it was recyclable or for restoration. And it just sort of grew from there, really. With bigger businesses, there's lots of restructures, as we know. And that sort of led me into looking for a new opportunity. And a friend of mine was doing some work for a site and said, look, just come and have a look. They need some support. I didn't know what I was going to do. And they said, do you want to come and be TCM? And I thought, well, yeah, I'll just come and work for you. And they said, no, you'll have to set up your own company.
Right.
No. That's not what I had planned, I'd been employed for 20 years, and you have the benefits of being employed. You don't think about anything, really, do you? You go to work, you do your job, and it's great. I came home and spoke to my husband, and it's like, well, go for it. You're being made redundant. We've got a little bit of comfort blanket there. We can, give it a go. What's the worst that can happen? And in your mind, you're like, what if I get it wrong? What if the reputational damage? Just everything. You look at everything that could possibly go wrong. But the
same things can go wrong as an employee.
True. Yeah, you're absolutely right. But I think because it was so unthought of, it was just go and get another job.
How long ago was that? How many years ago?
5 years in August.
5 years ago? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So, and it sort of grew from there, really. I say we all the time, but it's I am still an independent TCM, so I work with national and independent businesses, but I've stepped away from doing as many now. So I've got a couple of regular clients, and what I use, particularly on the consultancy side, I have a network of really good, knowledgeable, brilliant TCMs that we use up and down the country. So I'll get inquiries from different companies for various sectors, whether it's wood, metal, haz waste, all over the country, and I'll source TCMs and do that. So we've got about 5 that are working with me at the moment. Yeah, so that's great. So I've still got a bit of a hand in doing my own TCM work, and then, like I said, I've got a couple of a handful of people that work with me as well. That sort of led me to, it all sort of follows on really, led me to the forum, where I think it was about 2 years ago, maybe 18 months ago, there seemed to be just so much change in the industry. We had the standard rules permit change in it. There was consultations on landfill tax. There was all these things that was here, and everybody sat there going, well, what's going on? What does this mean for us? We found that independent TCMs felt quite siloed in terms of the knowledge and, trying to get that information. And I just sort of said, well, what if we just sort of get our heads together and set something up? And it just sort of grew legs straight away. On the very first one, we had CIWM come in to talk about membership. And then monthly, we have people from industry but completely varied, come in and talk to us about different things that are happening, whether it's specific to that sector or something to do with legislation. And we have sort of responded to a lot of the consultations or changes that are coming up. For example, I refer to the standard rules one again. So when the standard rules changes were coming in, the forum members, we decided to write an open letter to the Environment Agency with some of our concerns. Broad sector, this operating technique doesn't make sense. The various different bits and pieces. But what that led to was some open dialogue with the Environment Agency, with the person that's actually writing these permits. And this month, we're having an informal consultation before the actual consultation goes out with them to provide our feedback. So it sort of grew legs really, really quickly. And not only do we have them speakers that come in to give us lots of knowledge and insight of the industry, one of the members suggested a certain type of permit that's not available at the minute. Well, that's being written. That's going to be out in the industry. So we're doing a lot of really good work in the smaller working groups as well.
So how many sort of members have you got in the forum?
So there's about 52 members in the forum at the moment. Right. That's growing. And again, with Comply, that when people subscribe to Comply, they automatically become members because they get the knowledge base and the page on the platform. So, which is great, because now we're getting more members that wouldn't necessarily have known about the forum and all their knowledge and insight. So the membership's getting bigger, which means the knowledge and the experience is getting bigger and broader. But so there's a lot going on. So this month, go on. Mm-hmm.
No, I was going to say it's maybe a bit of a contentious question for you.
Okay.
I always feel that CRWM to a certain extent has missed a trick here. When WAMATAB merged with CRWM, they were fully aware that a lot of WAMATAB CTC holders, technical committee managers, weren't CRWM members. And I don't think they made a big enough effort to engage them and do, to me, your network should sit within CRWM, but you obviously identified a gap there that wasn't being serviced and addressed that, if you like.
Well, all I'll say is watch this space.
All right, okay, good.
What that looks like, I don't know yet. I'm having a couple of conversations with CRWM about, because they have recognised that is missing. But it's... I think what we've got is real boots on the ground knowledge. So it's not just TCMs, we've got a lot of operators as well that aren't TCMs, just environmental managers within businesses. That, again, if you're not part of a forum or you're not very active on social media, because let's be honest, everything's all over LinkedIn, isn't it?
Yeah.
That, you could be missing something vital to your business as the environmental manager. So this is why we try and keep it really, really varied with the topics that we're covering. This month we have DEFRA. I know they're doing the rounds at the moment, keeping everybody up to date, but Jake's coming back on next Monday next week to give us an update and just to see where all that's at. And then we've also got the Waste Crime Roundtable, which will be a really interesting one. There's a new platform, isn't it, coming on at the end of May with Anna Willits to talk about waste crime and the impact. And sorry, not the impact, the way that TCMs are now being brought into court and are being hauled in to say, well, actually, you're responsible. You've let this happen under your watch. So it might be that we lose a load of TCMs from the industry at the end of May because everybody starts panicking about going to prison. But
it's challenging at the moment because we know we've had recent case with SEPA where a customers phoned us. They've been in bother, they've had an enforcement notice or some shape or form from SEPA. In the past we would have got engaged with them, got them compliant, got them back up in the running. So we tried that approach with SEPA. We approached SEPA and said, look, this client's contacted us, we're trying to engage with them, and they're like, no, we can't talk to us, we can't talk to you because it's going for prosecution. And it's like, yes, I agree that there's ways, and in my view, this client, potentially, I think he had done things wrong. He did seem to genuinely be wanting to turn it around, and it's like, and that's the type of client that's throwing stuff in, 20,000 tons in a quarry or a field or all this sort of stuff that's been going on quite blatantly that seems to be getting, to a certain extent ignored.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
Yeah.
Well, we'll say you welcome. Well, as TCM members, as the forum members, you're welcome to join. I think we've invited Jane and Andrew, but if you want to join,
Yep.
you're more than welcome.
I see the invites, and I've failed spectacularly to get along to any of them, so I'll try and do better. Tell us a little bit about the Comply Digital platform. What are you trying to do with that?
So it was again, working with lots of different contractors with multiple TCMs. It was about trying to offer our clients initially a streamlined approach, a streamlined way to record everything. And that's how it sort of the conversations first started. It was designed for TCMs, but then it grew really, we developed it quite quickly into actually we can look at this for operators as well. So we changed the formatting slightly where it shows an operator will be able to have like full visibility over multiple sites, for example. So when a company such as yourselves or an operator have multiple clients, multiple TCMs, what you've got is visibility of those TCMs, what qualifications they've got, when their qualification will expire. But also for an operator, they can see that their TCMs are covering the right number of hours, they're doing the right checks, we're recording actions and they're being monitored. So holistically, if you've got 10 sites, for example, and you want to go and say, right, where are my risks? Where are my potential environmental breaches? You can go onto the platform and review the actions. And what it will show you, if there are actions on there, is this a company-wide issue? Is it site-specific? Is it region-specific? And then actually, have you got fundamental issues in your business or not? Or is it actually a specific site that just can't get the dust suppression right? I don't know, something as small as that.
Yeah.
It's just having that visibility. We've recently just made a couple of upgrades. And again, this is from having regular dialogue with the people that are using it. Because it is a new platform, we've been actively using it for, this year really, just for a few months. So I got quite blinkered into this is what I think I want it to look like. Actually, speaking to people, they're coming up with these amazing ideas, and I'm like, yes, we'll do that. Yes, we'll do that. So I'm trying to, I want to do it all now. Obviously, you do, and
you never can.
You never can. So I'm like, right, we'll put that down for the next development day. We'll put that round in, and we're trying to make it as broad as we can without throwing everything at it. So then people are overwhelmed by it, because then if you do that, people will look at it and think, oh, it's in the too difficult pile. I don't want to do that. So trying to keep it, as relevant as we can. But a couple of the upgrades that we've just done is a complaint system, which people may or may not use. I was with a business yesterday and they have their own complaint system. Having looked at it, we recognise that the one for Comply works much better. You can allocate the app. It's all visible in one place, and so we sat there, and the complaints were moved straight onto Comply yesterday, which is brilliant to see. In a bigger business, they may not need that because they've got that centrally within their other departments type thing, and they need it for an overarching business need. And again, another upgrade that one of the users had suggested was something as simple as creating schedules of tasks. So when's your monitoring due? When's your waste returns due? And setting them reminders, because we all know when these are due, but actually, is the right person allocated to do it? Are they doing it? And are we checking that they're doing it? Because all of a sudden you've got a note from the Environment Agency that you've not sent your borehole monitoring or something like that. So we just tried to create one platform where, from an environment,
everything's on it.
Where everything's on it. And I think, and again, it's just this has sort of evolved. Initially, it was to do TCM checks. So we're when we're completing a report, we're checking in the number of hours that we've completed. So then you can cross-reference that versus what the permit requires and what hours that they're doing. But yesterday we're like, right, okay, well, I want to do a vehicle inspection. I want to do my daily diary. I want to do a health and safety inspection. It's such a small change, but we've taken it off where you don't have to record your hours for every report. You select what you want. And then all of a sudden it becomes a tool for the whole site and not just for the TCM and not just for environmental compliance. It's sort of for everything. Yeah.
I suppose the benefit you've got here is quite often, I always think that there's loads of commercially available systems out there for things. And the challenge is always, yes, you can buy the system, but then you need people to actually use it and use it properly. The benefit you've got to a certain extent is the TCM does want to use it because that's their evidence that they can use to say they've done the job to the required standard.
Yeah.
And that's when they could put the actions on. So that's the sort of positive. How do you find the balance between your sort of day job, the earning job, versus the what I would call the voluntary bit of to try to do that engagement with industry? But sometimes I feel, we get consultation after consultation from DEFRA and SEPA and Environment Agency, whatever. It's just like, just decide, guys. It's not that complicated. Sometimes I feel we're being consulted on to make sure they're not making mistakes, and that, to a certain extent they're paid to do the job and get on with it. But do you feel that frustration sometimes?
But then I think when you look at something as important as the landfill tax consultation last year, the response that had and the levels that people and organisations and trade bodies were going to not remove the exemption for quarry restoration sites, because that would have been disastrous for so many things, and having that one rate. Well, actually, you just saw how the level of detail and the level of work that people put into it actually made a big difference. I know it's still kicking about in the background and they're going to do something, nothing goes away forever, does it? Let's be honest. But some things, yes, but actually, when you do the work and you see the benefit, and that's a good example, I think, you sort of don't mind doing it. And actually, I quite like getting other people's perspective. With my background in C&D waste and in a landfill, and there's all these consultations around lots of different sectors, I'm also learning as well. And I quite like that, you know. I don't profess to be an expert in all the other sectors yet. I just get little snapshots. But it's good to hear, and it's good for members to have that voice where they wouldn't have been able to, or previously, or perhaps wouldn't have had the confidence to do it alone.
So taking a big step backwards, when you were at school, did you ever imagine that you were going to work in the waste management sector? And how did that actually happen? How did you get your first?
Who does? And it wasn't even I went to school a long time ago, but was it even a thing? Way back then, because you don't think about it, do you? But it was pure coincidence in terms of my first job in the industry was because my stepdad worked for a national business, and I enjoyed the construction material side, and again went for a commercial role, but it was around waste. So nothing was set out. I would have loved to have been one of these children in school, or teenagers that said, I want to be a X, whatever that wants to be. A good friend of mine, she went to university to be a geologist, and that's the sector that she's in, and I would have loved for that to have happened. And I still think now, as no matter how old I am, but as the age I am, if somebody said to me, what do you want to be when you grow up, I still don't think I'd be able to give a definitive answer, because you like what I do.
I think that's like 99% of the population. I think the ones that actually know what they want to do are relatively rare. Yeah. So and I think back to your sort of journey through the sector, any favourite roles or projects you've had during that, any that stick out that I would love to be doing that again? That life was simple in these days.
Yeah, I mean,
or you're there now.
Yeah, no, I love what I do now. I do. I absolutely love it. I love the balance between being on site and doing, the day job, supporting clients, working with them, with the EA. I love that. Developing the forum. I can't say that's the easiest thing I've done. It's not, in your earlier career. I remember I set up a sales office, and we were just trading materials, trading aggregates and recycling, and it was brilliant. It was such a good role. Loved setting the office up, creating an area. That was fantastic. That was, when I look back to what I'm not doing, look back to what I performed to what I'm doing now, that was one of the things that I absolutely loved doing. Brilliant time, really good fun. But now, and I think it comes as you get older, you become more confident, and you put yourself out there a little bit more, and because of that, it opens the doors to more things. I wouldn't have ever dreamed to do something like this, or the forum, or host a networking event. I would never have done that 20 years ago.
We're the same. We've certainly, since we started doing the podcast, we do more webinars and events, and in the past it was like a big, I shouldn't say this, but it was a big deal to, we've got a webinar coming up. Now it's like, oh shit, we've got a webinar next Monday. We're not prepared for it. I probably shouldn't have confessed that, but it's like, But I think generally we're doing webinars and things on topics that we're really comfortable with, and the ones we're not comfortable with, and they're the ones we'll then prepare for and so on. But I think there's that bit you were saying earlier on, that there is, to a certain extent, there's knowledge out there, but there's also in lots of areas a real lack of knowledge about the sector, and there is a real appetite for people to learn and try and get themselves up to speed about things.
And I think as well, and you're absolutely right, and some people, it's having that confidence in an environment to say, I don't know that. I'm more than happy to do that now, but it's only because I've got that good network around me. When I first started working for myself, I was just purely on my own. I've got people that I used to work with and ex-colleagues, but I'd have clients ask me a question, I'm thinking,
I don't know.
Okay, I don't know. I'll do my best to find out. But what I've got now is, and I'll still do that, but I've got the network around me and the confidence to say, actually, that's not me, that's them, and we'll bring it together. But initially, you think you have to know everything, and you don't. And that's one of the things that I wanted to try and get across with the forum is nobody knows everything. But actually, if we share what we do know, and that it just gives you a little bit more confidence, doesn't it? And I think, and I've said confidence a couple of times now, but I think doing things like this, hosting the forum, I hosted an in-person event last year and I was absolutely terrified. I felt sick for a week. I didn't eat for 2 days. And it was brilliant. It was a brilliant day.
Yeah.
We got this gorgeous venue in the Midlands and we had exhibitors, we had speakers, we had the opportunity to network, brilliant food, and it was such a good day. And I'm looking forward to doing it again. I will do it again. But oh my God, the nerves and the anxiety and everything around doing that. What if it fails? What if nobody turns up? What if the speakers are rubbish? What if this? And everybody was brilliant, But it's just, the more you do these things, and again, that was great to bring the network together, because it's good doing things like this, and it's great having people come in and talk to us about topics that are relevant to that member, but actually getting together and just having a conversation over a cuppa, great day.
It's quite hard. It's quite hard getting that engagement. Because you probably know yourself. For CRWM Limited, the assessors and the verifiers used to have an annual event. There used to be 4 or 5 around the country.
Right.
Now they try to do an annual event in one central location, and they didn't get any uptake. And it's badly needed. It's just that getting with other assessors, with other verifiers, and just having that discussion about what's working, what's not working, where the challenges are, is really missing these days. And I'm not quite sure how you seem to manage to get it back to a certain extent with the TCMs, but it's probably quite a lot of work, I would suggest, to make it happen.
It is a lot of work, and in the beginning I just thought it to be really informal, lots of fun, and it is, but then I realised there was a lot to it, and so I had to put a small membership fee to it, which put people off, but actually then later on came back and said, no, I do want to be part of it, because some of these conversations that you're having are really important. But I know people use it as an excuse for different bits and pieces, but COVID didn't help with the whole, everybody's working from home. We got used to doing things virtually. Getting together just sounded like a bit, oh my God, we're going to see people in person. It sounded a little bit foreign, didn't it, for a period of time?
Yeah.
And so maybe it's that, I don't know, but we're going to try and do more as a forum. We're going to do more site visits. We hosted our first site visit last week, and that was great. Brilliant site down in Derby.
You're not allowed to say, because we're trying to get them on we're trying to get them as a guest in Rubberstock, aren't we? You're banned from saying who it is.
Yeah, I won't say who it is, I promise. I thought about it, but don't say.
Yeah.
But yeah, so trying to do more of that network and the collaboration and the just sharing,
So what's the plan? Where's it all going to get to? Is Tina going to take over the world of waste management in the next 10 years? Is that
That's the plan. And that's it. Yeah. I think I always want to keep the consultancy, because that's what I started doing, and I enjoy that. And again, it's that boots on the ground, it's that knowledge. I want to do that. But ultimately, the priority will be comply and how we move that into the wider industry. You're absolutely right. There is, as always, other platforms out there, but it's about how I can, or as the team, the team, that there's a few of us behind the scenes at Comply, but how we can broaden that network, elevate that platform, continue to develop it. So it is specific to the waste sector, because a lot of them can be quite generic, which is great, but we've built this to manage sites, manage TCMs, ensure that when the EA or the regulator or whoever that might be comes onto site, you can go and access all that information all in one place. So the focus for me is definitely comply. We're going to rebrand, so there'll be no acronyms, the TCMS, and build that into comply. So maybe comply forum, and then look at things about how to develop comply. So tracking, training, there's lots and lots of things coming out, coming up. I think we're in a sector that just keeps giving, aren't we? Whether it is consultations or change or anything, it does just keep giving. So I think comply will evolve. If I can get it to evolve with what's happening, that's probably going to be the focus.
That sounds exciting. Sounds good.
Yeah.
So I was going to take you back to your history in waste management. Any disaster jobs you've had? Any where you think I might not have a job tomorrow?
Yeah, well, do you know what? Yeah, well, I think there has been, but it's a shame when you have to walk away from sites. Do you know when you just can't get?
Yep.
You can't meet in the middle, or you can't. I don't know, find a resolve with that client, and it's not nice to walk away. And I haven't had to do it many times, a few times at best. Or when we've used a subcontractor and they've had to walk away, one has rang me straight away, she said, no way, we're not going on that site. Okay. And that's not great, and specifically if I've worked on a site for a period of time and you've gone, I need you to do, you must do. And then it doesn't. And then you have to get to a point where you work hard. Everybody works hard. Most people, I'll take that back. Some people work hard in the industry and want to do a good job. And I want to do a good job, and I want my clients and people that I work with to do well. But if other people don't have the same expectations or want to work the same, then you do have to walk away, and it's not nice.
Yeah, I think I've maybe told this story and the rubbish talk before, but the one very memorable one I had is going back a long time. I used to be able to fly from Prestwick Airport, which is only about 15 minutes away, down to Stansted, and there was like a dozen flights a day, so you could literally get up in the morning, get on a flight, get down, hire a car, and get to a client. So I'd picked up these two candidates for doing their technical competence. I remember vividly picking up the car, little wee Fiesta or something, driving down to the site, and eventually I found the site, and I sat there and thought, I just reversed back out of here. It was that what I was looking at looked that bad. I was like, there's no way. And then I thought, well, my return flight's not till 5 o'clock. Let's go in and see them. And it turned out it was a father and son team. They couldn't have been nicer. They couldn't have been thingy. But they needed lots of work done. And fair play to them. Over the months, every time I went back, the site got a little bit better, and all the rest. And they were the funniest. It was a scrap company, and the deals they were up to and the things they were up to, and they used to, but obviously at that time they bought scrap for cash. So to get cash out of the bank cost them money. So what they used to do was they'd go to the pub. So the pub took the money in cash the night before. They'd write them a cheque. They'd get the cash from the pub, take it to the thing, and all this sort of stuff. And this was saving their bank charges and stuff. And they had all sorts of things like this going on. And it was like there was nothing. They were just genuine, hard-working people, but they'd just been there forever, and they just needed to get their act together and up the game, sort of thing. And they were a good operation once it got tidied up.
You not find though that I like that sort of site because
I love that sort of site, but I think that sort of site now wouldn't survive. It wouldn't be allowed to survive.
No, but in terms of they're not where they need to be. They want to do the right thing.
Yeah,
so you can work with them, and like you, exactly what you just said then. Every time you visited, there was an improvement. Now they're there. If the knowledge isn't there, or the worst saying that I hate is we've always done it this way, and you're just like, oh my gosh. Well, why are we going to change? We've always done it this way. Yeah. It makes me want to run off. Actually, if people do want to change and make the site better, make it compliant, and it is a lot of hard work, then great, let's do it together. But it's when they don't want to be compliant is the hardest part.
the ones we've walked away in the past is ones that it becomes clear that they're using us as cover for not doing things right. That's when I get really tetchy.
Yeah.
You know, and that becomes very uncomfortable. How do you think in terms of your waste management knowledge, you feel you have to apply that at the household level? Do you have to? Are you the recycling champion in the house? Are you the one that's? Is it working? Is it working?
You hear me moaning at my husband for putting things in the wrong bin. Now my 6-year-old, she's really good. She's like, Mum, does this go in this bin or that bin? That's that. And then we've got the food waste bin now at home. So that's been absolute game changer. So you can see my husband trying to scrape it into the general. I'm like, no. But no, we're quite good. You know, we're not going out there bashing the neighbours for doing it wrong. But, you know, we're generally good at home.
It's quite frustrating though, don't you? You probably obviously know the advantage of the food waste, but just the sort of narrative around that, it's just like, it's just a load of, you know, so put your food waste in a nice caddy, get it collected once a week, or scrape all the remnants into your rubbish bin. It'll start stinking in 3 or 4 days, and that seems to be what the paper thinks is a better option. It's just like, come on.
It caused chaos with some of the neighbours. Then when you look on the local community groups and things like that, it just caused absolute chaos when the brown bins came around our area. It's just change, isn't it? People don't always like change. So, but no, we're good in our house. My daughter's we're training her. She's getting good.
Good. That's the way it should be. So how do you? Is it all work and no play, or how do you relax?
It's work and then work with kids. So it's busy constantly. My husband is busy as well. He's just in the process, he's just set up in a business. So the weekends have been chaotic, kitting out new buildings and bits and pieces. So this year has been absolutely crazy. But yeah, we've got 2 girls, and if we're not working, we're taking to cheerleading and we're dropping off, and we're out for kids' days. But we try and put some time aside to just try and relax. But the relaxing is always, shall we go out on the bike? Shall we go swimming? Shall we will crazy golf on the bank holiday? So it's never really relaxed. But we do like to get away, so we're booking lots of trips and things like that. So you sort of don't feel as bad for it being quite busy, when at the end of it, periodically, we'll either take a little break away in this country, or we'll try and get abroad.
How old are the girls?
13 and 6, nearly 7.
All right.
Yeah.
So
my husband loves it.
Enjoy it while you can. It's all over too quickly.
It's happening now. It's happening. I look at the youngest, and she's gone from being cute to just sassy in no time whatsoever. But yeah, growing up super quick.
Yeah. So going back we always ask our guests for their favourite piece of slang, dialect, or expression they've got from mainly from the waste sector, but I'm quite open to other options so things that you.
So there's a couple of
regularly.
Things. So there's a couple of things. I was chatting to a friend about this morning, and this is one that I'm going to use. But actually, what she said to me, it was quite relevant. Is muck. People use muck.
It's what?
Muck.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. When it's soil or it's anything,
Yep.
You look at the waste transfer notes, it's muck. And what does that even mean? So that's one thing that you see constantly that describes absolutely nothing, but is written on nearly every waste transfer note I see. But one of the things that has stuck with me, so it wasn't necessarily from the waste sector, it was from a conference that I was at many years ago. And there was a motivational speaker, and I've seen some brilliant, and I've seen some, where you just like, oh my God, please stop, because it was bad. And this guy was really, really good. Completely had a room of sort of 70, 80 people, just, complete silence, and just chatting. And one of the things that he said, and it stuck with me for such a long time, is accept. If you're in a situation, look at it 2 ways: accept or affect. So can you change that situation? No. Then accept it, because otherwise you're just going to go round and round in circles. But if you can't, then change it. And I use that all the time when I'm talking to clients, when I'm at home. Just speaking, accept or affect. That is the one thing that I've taken away. And if my old boss listens to this, she'll know exactly what conference, exactly what speaker, because it was something that we was like, he was incredible. I am using that, and I've used it in so many scenarios. Then we put,
Was that because it was the right information at the right time as well? Did it
Perhaps.
resonate with you in a particular situation? I was a similar I was a thing recently, and the speaker was like, I can't remember how he brought it up, but he was like, he said, think about, you're in a traffic jam. I love a traffic jam. I put my music on and I enjoy the extra half hour I've got in my car listening to my music. And he says, I also look around and see all these people that are pissed off that are stuck in a traffic jam.
Oh, yeah.
And he says it just changes the whole mindset. It's just like, I'm going to enjoy this.
Accept all facts.
10,
You
15,
cannot change it. You cannot change it. So accept that that's your situation.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm the same. I think doing a lot of travelling, you can be like that. I live really close to the M1 and it's a nightmare. Up and down that every day. Absolute nightmare. And I put an audiobook on, I put a podcast on. I don't do anything about it. You're just going to sit in that car and annoy yourself. Yeah. Accept or effect. Yeah. There we go.
I like that one.
Yeah.
I like that.
You can use
good.
that.
Yeah, that sounds good. So in the big bad world of waste, I'm going to give you a magic wand. Ooh. What would you like to use it for? To grow your TCM network to thousands of people.
Everybody to buy and comply. That would be it. You know what it would be? It would just be for consistency. Just consistency across operators, producers, regulators, everything. Just consistency. What is right here should be right there. What we're doing there we should be doing in another place, because we see so much inconsistency across the board, whether it is with TCMs, operators, say regulate, but everything. It's just so inconsistent. So I think if you could change one thing, apart from getting everybody to buy comply, it would be consistency is the honest answer. Having that level playing field for everybody, doing the same, having the same guidance for everybody, and the same, if guidance, but the same, what's the word I'm looking for?
Same approach, isn't it? It's the same approach to the problem.
Approach, yeah, that's the one, yeah. Do you find that where you are?
Was that, sorry?
Inconsistency, is it similar in Scotland?
Oh, there's the same issue. You could have one site where they're fine with something, and you go to, not very far away, and there's an issue with it, and I have exactly the same issue. But I think that comes back to what we were chatting about earlier, was this, because that networking's not been done, you don't get that shared notes where somebody says, I've got a wee problem with this is what's happening, and somebody says, I've not had a problem with that, and we seem to be missing that bit. That bit has been totally undervalued, I think, these days.
And it comes, you can put some things down to maybe experience or knowledge, things like that. But actually, if it's having serious repercussions on that operator, then actually there has got to be a consistent approach. But also how operators are working as well. So we know we've got good and bad, and we've got people in between. But if everybody could be consistent there as well, it'd always world would be wonderful.
It's wonderful. It's just got its challenges at the moment.
Yeah, exactly.
It's got its challenges, but I think I personally think we're not vocal enough about the waste producers aren't doing their job either. They've got their duty of care responsibility, and they generally take the view, I'm paying such and such, that's my duty done. And that's where, that's what's driving the waste crime. They're always looking for the cheapest possible deal, the cheapest bins, the cheapest this. And the reality is, what the waste sector has to do is quite complex and it's quite expensive. Yeah. And if you're doing it always for the cheapest, then you're not going to get the right standard. But you're not.
And you're always going to get people that don't want to do the right thing at all. That people are happy to break the law and actually build a business around doing the wrong thing, because the penalties don't match the crime. Somebody can go and make £3 million and get fined £30,000. So it's not comparable. So the people aren't being put off. I know they try. Everybody's trying to reduce the crime. You can't say they are. But if I've heard so many people indirectly, directly say, "Well, I'm going to do it anyway because the fine's so much less."
Yeah.
Where's the deterrent with that for these people that don't care about doing the right thing? They just want to make a quick buck and then move on to the next thing.
Well, we continually put legislation in place and we continually don't actually enforce that legislation. So it gets to a stage where, yes, I'm meant to do that, but nobody's going to enforce me. Nobody's told me I need to do it. Nobody's fined me for doing it. Therefore, I'm just going to keep doing it. So I almost think it would be better with less regulation and just more enforcement on the less, and I always go back to duty of care. If we started enforcing duty of care properly with producers, that would drive the change in the market, because, if they're getting a chap in the door and, hang on, have you segregated that waste as you're required to, et cetera, it wouldn't take many visits like that to get the word round. Especially if you're selective of who you picked for the visits.
So I did a piece of work for a construction company, actually, I think it was last year, and they brought me in to actually identify these things. And it was really straightforward about going onto sites, so you can see the segregation, but actually it goes back to tender stage when they're pricing jobs, because when they're pricing work, they go out and they'll say, I'll have a muck shift, it's definitely inert. Okay, so they get priced on that. They give that to the groundwork, this is definitely inert. Then it turns out it's not. But that chain then goes from the producer to the groundworker to the muck shifter to the haulier to the subcontractor. And the chain gets lost. And it's if that onus was on the producer, exactly what you've just said.
It's the main contractor that's driving that poor practice. Which is where I convinced, if you went onto some of these major construction sites and said, right, let's look at your duty of care properly, that would drive the change. Because these main contractors were, hang on a minute here, somebody's actually looking at, we've passed this down the supply chain, and we've got Joe Blogg's contractor with his couple of tipper trucks and taking it away.
And they don't know what they're taking it. Where's the follow-on? Where are the checks? But it always comes too late when somebody's found an illegal facility and they've been tipping a load of waste in. They follow the chain back up and then they go to the producer. But actually, you're absolutely right. If that piece of work or that enforcement was done much more regular at the producers, with the producer, it would see less of it. I mean, we're not going to stop it, are we? Let's be honest. There's too much money in it for that to stop. For me, as long as my clients are doing the right thing and we're informing everybody and we're doing what we can, I think that's for me, that's really important, that we're doing the right thing and we're aware of what's happening. We just stay away.
There is an argument at the moment that the government's generating so much tax from the landfill tax, and that's what's driving a lot of the crime. That a portion of that tax should be going into the proper enforcement to try, otherwise, the higher the tax goes, the bigger financial opportunity there is for the criminals to.
Well, exactly. When they were talking about the single rate code, it was going to do one of two things. It was going to drive more waste to go into the inert facilities or trying people falsify documents, or if there would be more, illegal tipping. One of the members, and I think this was quite publicly known, but one of the members worked out, they run a skip business, and it would have put, I think at the time he said 30, but it went up to around 40% on a skip price. So then all of a sudden, you've got your residential clients that, let's be honest, don't really think about the waste, because people don't think about how much a skip's going to cost or anything like that. And then all of a sudden, that skip has gone up to that price, and they haven't got that. But, and there's no repercussions, or little repercussions for them. You're just going to see waste fly tipped all over. It was dangerous if that was put through. That would be really dangerous.
Okay, final question for me. Any advice for the younger generation following your footsteps into the waste sector?
I think just jump straight in. There's so much to it, isn't there? I think historically, if you'd have said a landfill to somebody, they'd have run a mile, because there was that perception of what it was. But the technologies that are evolving within our business, how people are recovering material, waste streams, and producing things like fuels and other bits and pieces. And I think just jump straight in, learn as much as you can. There's lots of you can do. Obviously, there's a WAMITEL qualification and things like that. There's lots of things out there to learn, lots of ways to learn. But I'd be saying jump straight in. It's a brilliant sector. I couldn't do anything else now. You're in that. You can't, can you? When you're in, you're in.
You're unemployable by any other sector.
Pretty much. Yeah, definitely. I did try through a restructure a while ago now. And I worked outside the business. I thought, I've had enough. This is the second time it had happened. And I thought, right, I'm out. And I tried it for 6 months and I was begging to get back in. I couldn't. I thought I'd try it and I just couldn't. If it's a sector and it's a sector that you enjoy and you're passionate about, you wouldn't want to leave.
I think that's a good note to finish on, I think, Tina. So thank you very much. I've enjoyed this chat. I've learned lots about what you're doing and what you're trying to do. But full respect to you for setting up the TCM. I can't remember what it's called now. Network. Forum, network, whatever you want to call it. Because I know the amount of work that will go into that to make that happen and getting people to volunteers. So well done.
Thank you. No, thank you for having me. It's been great. Really appreciate it.
No problem. It's been great to have you on. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this episode. See you again next Thursday at 4 p.m. Don't forget to follow, share with friends, and send us your feedback at hello@rubbishtalk.co.uk.